Hey everybody, Ben here for the Bonehead podcast, and welcome to Special Teams Sunday. So we've been through all the standard Blood Bowl teams, and now we're looking at the non-standard ones, or the unofficial Blood Bowl teams out there. We have a tagline. It's a horrible tagline, but it's a true tagline, which is more Blood Bowl is more better. So you've got the core teams. You've got the teams of Legend PDF. You've got the two expanded NAF teams, but there is so much more Blood Bowl to be had beyond that. So what we're going to do every week, every Sunday, is we're going to have a look at one unofficial team in Blood Bowl. We might go through the Fumble Leagues, which is, I think, kind of where Simyin sits, but we're going to look outside of that as well at some point with homebrew rules, with Dungeon Bowl teams and mixed teams and things like that. We're going to actually have a lot of fun looking at other teams in Blood Bowl, and yes, we might sneak an Age of Sigmar team in or two as well if we see somebody doing them really, really well. So what we're going to do today is we're going to have a look at the Simyin team. So Simyin is a monkey team, and it's a really interesting one. So it's existed for quite a long time, like 2014 or something, and it is a team made completely of monkeys. And basically, the stick of this team is that everyone has extra arms. Now, you can play this on Fumble, and you can play it in some leagues, so it's not just a secret league kind of team. This one is the next team in the unofficial order below Khorne and Bretonnians. So it's kind of sitting there. So you're Slann, Bretonnian, Khorne, and then you've got the Simyin team. Now, all of those three made it into Blood Bowl 1 or Blood Bowl 2. Simyin did not. I would think there's scope to reskin this team as a Tzeentch team. And Games Workshop does some clever stuff with repurposing teams. So we've seen what they've done with the Bretonnians into the Nobility team. If they wanted to bring the kind of playstyle of Simyin in, I think they could do it with a Tzeentch team. Anyway, let's have a look at the positionals and give you a suggested roster. So as I said, they're made entirely of monkeys, or types of primate, I guess. I'm not sure, I'm not a zoologist. So the Simyin roster, I've kind of tagged each kind of player as to the role that they perform. So you get 0 to 12 Bonobo Linemen. They are pretty standard from a stat point of view. Movement 6, Strength 3, Agility 3, Armor 7, and extra arms. Before we carry on, this rule set is entirely for 2016, so we try and focus as much as we can on the current rules, which is 2020, but a lot of these special teams don't exist in the new world, so we're going to kind of cast our eyes back at the world that was when it comes to Blood Bowl. And Simyin sit in Fumble. Fumble is still playing 2016 rules. If you want to go play Simyin, you can literally just log on to Fumble, create a Simyin team, and just go and farm a load of games. And I do recommend trying out Fumble for that, because it's a great way to play some teams that really are rare, which is pretty cool. So the Bonobo Linemen are the core of the team, and they're not bad, to be honest with you. Armor 7, not brilliant. 50k is great. Movement 6, Strength 3, Ag 3, all kind of ordinary. But that extra arms means that they are catching and picking up the ball on a 2+. So this team has quite a good amount of agility when it comes to ball handling. Now, standard agility across the team is pretty average, but being able to have essentially +1 on top of most other teams to pick up the ball or to catch it means that when you have the ball, it's going to be pretty easy to maintain it. So the orangutans are interesting. So you get 0 to 2 and there's 70k. Movement 5, Strength 3, Ag 3, Armor 8. So a little bit tougher than the Bonobos, but slower at Movement 5. They've got extra arms as well, and strong arm. So these are kind of positioned to be your throwers. They've got general and passing on a normal, whereas the Bonobos have just got general. So you can develop them into throwers. That Movement 5 is quite tough though. Just ask every orc thrower ever. Chimpanzees are cool though. 0 to 2 chimpanzees. Movement 7, Strength 3, Ag 3, Armor 7. Extra arms and wrestle. So these are GA, so they get general and agility skills. So they are your quick dodge pieces after one level up. And movement 7 is pretty fast. And wrestle makes them quite useful. So I've tagged them as blitzers, but wrestle is not the best combat skill for blitzing. But it is a great combat skill for defensive play. So those chimpanzees are really useful. Movement 7 is really useful. And wrestle is always great. So you're paying 30k for 1 extra movement and wrestle, which is a bargain. Then you've got 0 to 4 gorillas. Gorillas are the quintessential blockers. Movement 5, Strength 4, Ag 2, Armor 8, extra arms, and grab. So if you guys have farmed any games in with Black Orcs, you'll know how great Strength 4 and grab is. They can really, really, really dominate a line, and a single gorilla on its own anywhere, whether you're guarding a cage or being abusive to a corner of somebody else's cage, that grab is going to open up avenues. And then you've got the Silverback, which is the big guy for this team. 140k loner, wild animal, extra arms, grab, mighty blow, on top of movement 5, strength 5, edge 1, armor 9. So, strength 5, wild animal, makes sense. Grab and mighty blow, but does have extra arms as well. Extra arms is going to come in handy almost never, but it's thematic, isn't it? Strength on a normal skill. So the Silverback plays the part of that big guy and gives you early access to mighty blow. It's an interesting roster. You've got some solid pieces there. I don't rate the Orangutans, and Rich is running this in a league at the moment, and I played against him with human nobility this week. And the Orangutan was just not great. That strong arm is never really going to come in handy. Not at first. You can boost it up and everything, which is great, but the bonobos are really decent. And the chimpanzees are tricky. So the bonobo linemen, there's actually 0 to 12, not 0 to 16. Classic typo, Ben. So with the Simyin team, the linemen themselves are actually really solid. We just looked at the stats, 6, 3, 3, 7 extra arms. So at movement 6 with edge 3, they perform the role of every lineman. Armor 7 means they are a bit vulnerable, and the complete lack of combat skills is pretty tough. But you are dropping an armor to have the ability to pick up a ball on a 2+ and to catch on a 2+. That means that you can rely on your lineman to be a catcher most of the time. So you spread this team out, and if you need to hand off, if you need to go for the pass, if you do take the orangutan, you're going to be in a really good spot. So when it comes to the stretch play, the Simyin team is really solid. 2+ is fantastic, and you will have some rerolls. Downside of this piece here is the armor is quite low. They are a little bit vulnerable, but hey, they're linemen. So the normal rules apply for linemen. It's general skills only, so block, wrestle, kick are some of the great skills here for these, and they are just there to make the rest of your team work. And then there's the orangutan. So really interesting positional. It is basically an orc thrower without the good skills. So extra arms is great. It means it is going to be picking up the ball on a 2+. But your linemen already do that, so movement 5 is a bit of a killer. You're paying 20k extra for strong arm as a skill, but you're costing yourself an extra movement, but that is being traded for an armor. So they're slightly slower, but slightly tougher than your standard lineman. You can take 0 to 2. Now the key thing with the orangutan, let's ignore the skills for now, is that they can take leader. So rerolls are incredibly useful on this team. If you think about it, wrestle is the only 2 combat skills you can get hold of. Everything else has to be earned. You've got no sure hands, you've got no pass, you've got no skills for Blood Bowl really, you've just got strength and cool extra hands. So the orangutan being able to get leader quite early on can be really useful, and it's definitely worth considering if you've got that extra 20k to boost up a lineman to an orangutan. Maybe it's worth doing just to slow brew your way up to get an extra leader role. But we are known for our optimistic passer theory here, and the orangutan has potential to be a pretty reasonable passer. So with strong arm, at the moment you're making quick passes 3+, 4+, 4+, 5+. So taking pass is going to give you a 75% chance of a 7, 8, 9 square throw, and you're doing that and farming it off to people who are going to catch the ball on 2+ most of the time because of edge 3 and extra arms. So I can definitely see the angle here around I'll take a orangutan and I'll make him a thrower. The thing is, you've already got strong arm, you can get pass and that's okay, but that's your best case scenario and you're looking at 4+ with a reroll to pull off something? That doesn't seem worth it to me. However, it's your game, it's your team, and I know what it's like to have an optimistic angle somewhere. Make it work. But where the orangutans are tricky / disappointing, the chimpanzees deliver. I just love that Blood Bowl allows me to have these sentences. So 0 to 2 chimpanzees coming in at 80k apiece, movement 7, strength 3, edge 3, armor 7. Yes, that's right. These guys are glorified Skaven linemen. I love Skaven linemen. I would love them even more if they came with wrestle and extra arms for plus 30k. These are fantastic. They're not superstars, alright? This is not like having 2 Griffs on your team, but for 30k over your lineman, 1 extra movement and wrestle is awesome. Like, if you could brew up a couple of linemen, you would want to be this role. It's weird. I've labelled them blitzers. It's because they've got a combat skill. They actually make really good catchers, but wrestle, again, really interesting skill. I'm glad they've got wrestle and not block. But wrestle makes sense, and it gives you a really interesting angle with this team. You've got up to 4 players with grab. No, wait, up to 5 players with grab because of the Silverback. And you've got some wrestle. It's a really interesting team. It's like a hybrid between Black Orcs and Nobility. Like, it's really weird, and it's going to throw your opponent off. And what it does do is it creates quite a soft feel. Like, there's no straight removal except with the Silverback. The rest of the team is moving your opponent around and wrestling them to the ground. I can see monkeys doing that. So when it comes to the chimpanzee, they're going to be really good. They are going to score things. That movement 7 just makes them so good. And wrestle means that when they get an opportunity to take a block, it's going to go well most of the time. General and agility also means that these are on the fast track to getting dodge. Now, dodge wrestle is an interesting combo. Okay, dodge will protect you. Taking block will do a better job, but block and wrestle is redundant in most cases. So taking dodge early on is really useful. It also means that when they roll both down, you get an opportunity to drag them down to the ground or to take the turnover. So it's interesting. Another great skill here, because you've got wrestle, jump up is going to work really great as well. Because if your chimpanzee gets in a brawl, that wrestle is going to be able to just take you down. Agility skills are great. And when it comes to the chimpanzee, gosh, just think about it. Sprint is going to be useful. Sure feet's going to be useful. Sidestep's going to be useful. There's just a ton you can do with the chimpanzees. I really like these. It's almost a shame you can't take 4, but I'm glad they can't. And this is a player I really, really like. 100k is really steep, but you can take up to 4 gorillas. Now, movement 5, strength 4, ag 2, and armor 8 means that they are, for all intents and purposes, in the old world, a faster, lighter Black Orc. That's all well and good, but they come with grab and extra arms. So extra arms isn't going to do wonders. It means they're picking up a ball on what, a 3+? That's not bad for a strength 4 player. You're never dodging with them. Ag 2 is always risky. It's going to be 4+ on the best. That still can be done, but that extra arms means that they pick up ball. They pick up ball, same as Chaos Blocker. So they're kind of Chaos Blockers. Worse armor, worse agility, sure, but they start with grab. So they can receive the ball, they can pick up the ball. It's really cool. They are expensive at 100k. And when you are building your team, we'll have a look at this in a second, you almost get a choice of 4 gorillas or 2 gorillas and 1 silverback. I don't think there is a bad, I don't think you're going to, it's fine whichever one you choose. Because over time you're going to add gorillas, and when you get 4 gorillas and a silverback, that front line is dominating, and you've got grab, which means you can move folks around however you like. Interesting twist here on the gorilla. No general access, okay? It's agility or strength. So you can play around. Now, I do like guard. Guard and grab is a fantastic combination. You keep them close, you keep that +1, and it just allows you to repeatedly smash face. Okay, a couple of guard, 1 with mighty blow, 1 mighty blow plus the gorilla, plus the silverback. Sorry, you're just farming around and causing some absolute carnage, and you're backed up by a team of pretty agile people who are picking up the ball on a 2+. So the gorillas play a really strong place in this team. I played against them this week. There was 2 gorillas and 1 silverback. And one of the gorillas was missed next game, but the 1 gorilla that was left performed really well, and that strength 4 piece is really good. With move 5, it was in the brawl most of the time. That grab came in handy a lot, and yeah, really impressed with these players. Then you've got the big guy. So 0 to 1 silverback, 140k, movement 5, strength 5, ag 1, armor 9. Loner, wild animal, extra arms, grab, mighty blow. So extra arms is basically superfluous in this regard, although it does mean that he receives the ball on a 4+, but any player with a wild animal shouldn't end up with the ball very often, because it is going to cause you to blitz with them all the time. Now, the benefit of blitzing with this guy all the time is he's got mighty blow. The downside of blitzing with him is he's got grab, which does nothing on the blitz. It also means that he can't get frenzy. So that's probably a good thing, to be honest with you. However, dude, movement 5, strength 5, mighty blow. It's always great. Grab is a free skill, can keep him in close. Taking strength on a general, you've already got mighty blow. Taking guard is going to mean that all of your blocks are just more powerful. Now, as this is the old school rules, taking break tackle on this guy is going to be fantastic, because he's going to dodge into the open on a 2+. All of the time. He's going to dodge into 1 tackle zone on a 2+ as well, and when you are blitzing with a silverback, it's on a 2+. So realistically, if you are dodging into 1 tackle zone, it's 2+, many dice and carnage. Really love it. In the new world, it's going to be interesting to see what stats this guy gets. I imagine it's going to stay very much the same. Break tackle won't be as good, but you have the alternative there to save up to get block, which is going to be fantastic if Simyin get ported to Blood Bowl 2020. But as it is, on Fumble, break tackle is great. Juggernaut is always of great skill. It is difficult, and I don't know if I like taking Juggernaut too early because you've already got grab, so you're kind of incentivized to take break tackle. If you want break tackle, Jugs is going to work great. Otherwise, grab and guard combo brilliantly. The point is, you've got a big guy. You've got a big guy on the team. It's got Mighty Blow. It's got grab. It's just a big gorilla, and that's a really good thing. So, if you want to run a team, I've kind of got two lists in one for you. This either comes out at 980 or 990. So, 6 linemen, 6 bonobos, okay, standard guys, 2 chimpanzees, those are the movement 7 wrestlers who will be getting dodge after 6 SPP. Then you've got 2 gorillas, okay, so there's 2 strength 4 grab pieces with strength access and 1 silverback, that's the big guy with Mighty Blow. So you end up with 2 strength 4, 1 strength 5 player, and 8 players with movement 6 or 7 that are picking up the ball on a 2+. This is a fun team, guys. This is a fun team. Now, their team rerolls come in at 60k, and because you've got no sure hands, because you've got no block, you do need rerolls. Okay, I like 3. I think 3 is okay. You have to play well. You're not in the market for requiring 4. This is not vampires or ogres. You're going to be okay with most of this stuff, and you've got cheap enough players. So that's one option. The other thing you can do is drop the silverback, pick up an extra bonobo. No, drop the silverback, drop a bonobo, and take 2 gorillas. So 6 bonobos at that point. No, 5 bonobos, 2 chimpanzees, and 4 gorillas will take you to 11 players. So basically, you get a choice of 4 gorillas, or 2 gorillas, a silverback, and a bonobo. There isn't a bad choice. I'm a big fan of getting the silverback first, because then you can just add gorillas. It's a lot easier to get to 100k than it is to 140. It's a game, maybe a game and a half's worth. So actually you can just add to your team as you go. And if you get lucky, 2 games in, you've got your 3rd gorilla. I think you can play some accounting, drop a reroll, boost up a bonobo to an orangutan, get a 3rd gorilla, and then swoop in and get your leader reroll for the 3rd. And technically, if you take this roster here, it comes in at 980, and then you can upgrade a bonobo to an orangutan and still shoot for that leader. I'm not sold on the orangutan, but, you know, why not? Actually, you might as well pick one up. Skills-wise, the standard lineman, block, kick, fantastic. Chimpanzees, dodge, great skill to get on them nice and early on. Gorillas, block, guard, Mighty Blow, very standard blocker things. And the silverback already has Mighty Blow, but that's supposed to say guard. And break tackle are going to keep it mobile, and or it's going to keep things close and just murder, okay? And in concert with those gorillas. There's probably a way to get 4 gorillas and a silverback, but you're going to be down to 2 rerolls, and I would rather just brew it up. It's an interesting team, and you can do a lot. I think in tournament land, the Simyin team actually has scope to take 4 gorillas, 1 silverback, an orangutan leader, and probably 3 rerolls. So you're in a pretty good spot to take a really solid team in a resurrection tournament. In League, you're going to be brewing up. You can't get everything you want, and that's fine. That's what you want in League. But the Simyin team gives you a bunch of variety. You've got good ball handling, but you are rolling just hard dice, no integral rerolls. You've got cool chimpanzees. You've got a lot of strength and grab. It's a positioning heavy team. When it comes together, it's really, really strong, but it isn't overpowering. It definitely feels like it has a special thing it does. And I think that's why it is a really popular team, or was in the past. You don't see so much about it anymore, but a couple of years ago, 2 to 3 years ago, Simyin was really, really popular. So let's have a look and see if there are any miniatures for you if you want to run a Simyin team. So this is where the Simyin team gets quite divisive, though. If you look for Simyin miniatures, I may have missed something really awesome. This is the Impact Miniatures team. This is the Simyin team. So on the plus side, it's £29.09. Which is a bargain for a team that has got this many players. The downside of this team is they're a bit mixed up. So you can see 4 gorillas on the left-hand side, all your chimpanzees in the middle. Not chimpanzees, but your kind of bonobo linemen in the middle. You've got the 2 orangutan throwers. You've got the big guy there. You've got an extra positional, so you get to choose whether these running guys or these guys here end up being the chimpanzees or the linemen. So you do get a variety of miniatures. the downside is they are not particularly Blood Bowl, and that can be a little bit jarring. And when it comes to the Simyin team, and to be fair, Slan, there is a lot of kickback around. They don't belong in the universe, they don't fit in the universe, it doesn't feel right. It's really interesting. Now, from a gameplay point of view, I think this team's really interesting. From a model point of view, I don't love the kind of chimpanzee aspect. It's not something that, I guess, I find it difficult to relate to a team of animals. Like, the squig team's fine, because you are kind of, I'm coaching these goblins who are herding these squigs. It's just weird for me to think about coaching a team of primates like this. Anyway, this is here, £30 for a whole team. I do have an alternative in my mind. So if you think about the roster, you've got one big guy, you've got 4 blockers, you've got 2 blitzers, 2 throwers, and a bunch of linemen. All of them have got extra arms. What if you took the Simyin roster and just replaced the players with chaos versions of other players in the game with mutations of extra arms? So the big guy can be anything you want, a troll, an ogre, chuck a couple of extra arms on. The gorillas, why not take some black orcs or some chaos blockers and, again, chuck on some extra arms. Chimpanzee blitzers can be anything cool, so can your linemen. You can take Skaven runners, beastmen, you know, the horns are going to throw you off, but any kind of mix mash of players with extra arms. The orangutan throwers. Get a couple of orc throwers with extra arms. You know, basically any team that has extra arms, that vibe, that kind of chaosy vibe, to be honest with you. That's why I think a Tzeentch team would be great for this. You know, get the blue horrors and the pink horrors. That's your linemen, that's your blockers basically with the pink horrors, and then you just have to kind of find some blitzers and a couple of throwers and a big guy to suit, and you're absolutely there. So the extra arms element is fantastic. Whether you're a fan of the monkey element of it or not is entirely down to you. But the way the team plays and the kind of unique element you get out of it, it's a really cool team, really unique. And I was impressed when I've seen the games with the Simyin team. Really impressed. It's a cool and unique roster, and that's what this show is all about. It's about finding different ways to play and different things that are out there. It's just a new way to play. It's fantastic. Anyway, guys, I'm going to wrap up now. Please let me know what you think about the Simyin roster. Whether you're a fan, whether you're not a fan, that kind of stuff. And if there are other teams out there that are unofficial that you would like us to take a look at on Special Teams Sunday, then please let us know, because we've got some cool ones to go through, and I want to make sure that we hit the ones that you guys are the most interested in. Anyway, I'm going to wrap up now, and we'll be back again soon with more Blood Bowl content. Happy blocking. Thanks very much for watching. We really appreciate your support. If you want to support the show even further, please like and subscribe. It really helps us out. Or come and join us in our Patreon, link below, where you get early access to our content and monthly competitions. See you later.